Welcome to the Scared But Not Damaged podcast, a podcast that supports, empowers, and inspires women that have experienced abuse or experiencing emotional trauma or pain. This podcast will challenge you to push against the tides and rewrite your story. On this show, I will be sharing some of the principles of Scarred But Not Damaged, a life that has gone through adversity and abuse and has come out strong in spite of life's challenges. Despite the scars, your worth and your value remains intact and undamaged. Each week, we will discuss topics like what is abuse, what are the red flags that you are in an abusive relationship or marriage. I am your host, Naomi. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my show, the Scared But Not Damaged podcast, where we touch lives, transform minds, and change lives. Yes. Today, we're just going to talk about is the second series on the how to set yourself free from the prison of the mind, and how our minds play a major role in the bigger picture. So yeah, hope you had a lovely weekend, and there's the start of a new week. So let's jump right in. The mind, they say, is a battlefield. Interesting. The mind is where all the activities of life, events of lives, dreams of life are brewed and are being made and created. Everything you see today starts from the mind. For every decision you take comes from the mind. So the mind is a battlefield. It's a place that the war takes place. A war for good attention and bad attention. So it's very imperative that we take care of our minds. Every problem or victory starts in the mind. Being in a healthy state is being healthy in your mind, in your body, and your spirit. It is very important to keep those three things, three parts of us, in a good place. So it is essential that we look after all three: body, mind, and spirit. If the mind is not whole, your body cannot be whole. So we need a holistic approach in dealing with our situations. Many times we see people behave in a certain way and we simply judge them. Knowing a bit of their history or a background story why they do the things they do, and that way we may begin to empathize. If we all took our time as people to spend time understanding other people better, perhaps we are going to show more kindness towards them and be more empathic towards them. I'd like us to take a deep breath in and just sink that in for a minute. Yes. Sink that in for a minute. Be mindful at this time how we treat people, how we treat ourselves. Are we even mindful of actions that we take each day or things we do to our fellow human being? If we take a minute to reflect, peradventure we put ourselves in that same situation and think, If I am being treated the way I'm treating this person, would I like it? If we take a minute from a microsecond from each of the minutes in each day of our lives, I think the world would be a better place, because you would not want to hurt your neighbor. You would not want to do a thing that would impact them negatively. That way, we'll be living intentionally. So we come back to the mind. The mind is the central of all we do. It is central of all we do. All we do and how we feel comes from a thought that we all have. We can simply tell our thoughts by the way we feel. If you feel happy, you are probably thinking happy thoughts or positive vibes. If we begin to live intentionally, you can find out that we can manifest or shape how we want our lives to be, because we are mini making machines. We are mini gods. We are creators. We are meant to build, to create things. That's what human beings, we're meant to have dominion. We're meant to produce things at the word we speak. Every time we open our mouths, we are creating, good or bad. The energy you emit every day goes into the universe, goes into the atmosphere. And guess what? It creates frequencies. And when it comes back and hits you, guess what? The frequency you put out there is what comes to you. So if you put a negative energy out there, you're going to get it back multiplied and magnified. So guess what? Let's put our positive energies out there. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. I know it could be tough, you think, yeah, but it's doable. A lot of people have practiced this centuries and over the years, and they've seen results. So why don't you start practicing it now? Believe we are meaning making machines. So each day, every word you speak goes to create. You're either creating something positive or you're creating something negative. So choose. And I guess you're wise enough to choose to create positive energies around you. Moving on. So go create the life you want. To just begin to think positive thoughts, you begin to feel positive energy around you. I started practicing positivity in recent times, and boy, it helps me build the momentum of little positive and happy experiences around me. The more I think of them, the more I visualize them, the more I manifest them. Yes. I had a car accident some years ago, which affected my ability to do many daily activities. That left me feeling bitter and sad for myself for so many years, as I never like to ask for help, always love to do my stuff myself. So the fact that I had to do things with so much difficulty and in pain left me feeling defeated, and I went into low moods as a result of that. Yeah. Back then, I couldn't smile because everything I thought of was pain, 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 pain. You don't even ask me how I'm feeling, because I'll just express the pain in my talk, in my back. Everything was pain. I felt if I continued like this, I would be sad for the rest of my life. So I changed something. Yes, I changed something. It didn't happen in 1 year, it didn't happen in 2 years, it happened in 3 years, it happened in 4 years. But guess what? I found that I had to change something because that pen wasn't going, and that took my joy, took my life completely. So I said, okay, if the pain wasn't going, I've got to change something. So I'm going to encourage you today. If your situation, you don't have control over it, change what you have control over. Take charge of what you have control over. That could be your mind. No one else has control over your mind. That's what I did. I took charge of my mind. I took charge of how I see things. So, yeah, I changed something. I changed the way I saw my situation. I started to make jokes out of my inabilities to carry out certain tasks. And I stopped focusing on the pain and my situation. And I started to create happiness in other ways. By going back to education, I started to educate myself because I knew the only thing I had, which I had that was so strong for me, was my mind, my brain. So I knew I could use my brain. So I changed my career path, which was very difficult place to be at that time, but I stuck with it. And that's where the word resilience comes in. When all odds, everything stands against you, where all you see is darkness, you don't even see the light at the end of the tunnel. That was me. But then I said to myself, but you've got your mouth and you've got your mind. Your mind is sane. You're stable. So do the best you can do, despite your current situation. As I know, I could use my brain as it was intact. Despite the chronic pain and injury I suffered, I shifted the focus to positive things I could see around me and do other things within my abilities. And I began to see the reason to live life again. I know some of you might say, oh, it's easy for you to say. No, it's not. I was in that place. I was in a rut where I never saw light. I couldn't lift anything, even as close as a mug. I could not lift that for years. I had clutches to walk on. I could not stand. But I looked at myself. I'm young, I'm in my mid years of my life, and hey, I've not started having fun yet. So why am I going to let life pass me by because of a situation that had to do with a mind shift? It took years. So I understand. 2 years of pain and tears, but I had to do it. I had to do it for me. For me. Sometimes you've got to do things for you because you had to do for yourself, not for anyone else, because you feel the pain. So sometimes changing the trajectory of your life, you've got to make some changes. And it first has to do with your mind. The fact that I took the focus off my pain and I started to see where I could give value to others. I started helping. I started also doing things I could do in my ability. I could talk to people. I could put a smile on someone's face, so I started doing that. I felt blessed and I got my joy back gradually. So you too can do it. It doesn't matter the pain, trauma, or life's event that you're going through. Trust me, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. Just take the focus off you and put it on someone else with a need and try to meet their need or find something else you can do to bring joy and fun back your way. I must say, it is not easy. It is not an easy road to travel, But trust me, I have been through lots of times, and the later is better. You remove the focus off your situation and start building a new sense of fulfillment and self satisfaction. I hope this few minutes and tips about life taking you from a place of gloom and dark place to a place of joy, happiness, sunshine, to a place of self fulfillment, self achievement. Yes, it is very possible. I'm here to encourage you. I don't know where you're listening from, I don't know your situation, but one thing I know, I never saw hope. I didn't think I could get here today. But one thing I know I did was I changed the way I saw things. So it's like you have to flip. It's like a 360 or 180 degrees. It depends on where you're viewing from. Sometimes you have to take a 360 turn. But this time around, I took 180. And that's where I found hope. I found changes. And things started coming together. Do I still have those pains? Yeah, pains are there. But what I did was I changed my focus. Yes, now and again you have some bad days. Yes. Almost some bad days. But the truth is, you can make your situation look less daunting. And you've got to do it. You can come out of that rut. You can come out of that darkness. And guess what? In that situation, I thought was the darkest forever. Like it was never going to change. But guess what? It passed. This too shall pass. Situations are always temporary. And one thing I've learned is when something is out of your control, leave it. Take your hands off it and let nature do with it. And it's in its due time, it's going to shift. All you have to do is shift your focus, start smiling, start bringing sunshine, start mixing, expand your social circle. That helps a great deal. I shut myself in for years. I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't talk about it. And when I looked for help, I didn't even find because I lived with so much, I don't know. But now I looked at myself differently and I'm in a better place than I was. So I'll leave you here with this tip. Remember, everything you go through, you do go through for a reason. You go through to become. And guess what? You'll be better for it tomorrow. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you again next week. Bye. Thanks for joining us this week on the Scarred But Not Damaged podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Scarred But Not Damaged so you don't miss a show. Kindly subscribe to the show so you know when new episodes are released, and leave us a review so we can continue to bring you amazing episodes. Thanks for listening and see you next week.